According to a recent Mastercard report, Singapore is ranked number 5 amongst other Asian regions, where women entrepreneurship is largely driven by strong enabling conditions. The report also noted that only 27.5% are female-led businesses. Thus, at HER Entrepreneur, we hope to harness the power of women in entrepreneurship, leadership, and relationship.
Hi everyone, my name is Renee and welcome to the HER Show. We're really delighted to have with us today very interesting and successful entrepreneurs and leaders who will be sharing insights, their stories and experiences today. And we will be interviewing them shortly. Stay tuned. We have with us this morning Anna Lim, the founder of The Soup Spoon. All right, now Anna, do share with us a little bit more about your background. Why did you start Soup Spoon in the first place?
Okay, we started the Soup Spoon 2002 in June, so we're 16 years old this year.
Congratulations!
Yeah, so my former life was an embryologist. My degree was actually in biotechnology. So yeah, it's a big change from from doing science to cooking. I always believe that cooking is not only just an art, but it's also a science, because the artistic side, the creative side will allow us to innovate and create new soups all the time, putting in all the creative juices. But it has also got to be a science. Imagine, every time when someone comes and have a soup, it tastes different from the last time. Yeah. So, the science part is important, because being consistency and exact, because every time when the customer comes back, they want to have the same comforting bowl of soup each and every time. So henceforth, that's why I say, cooking is not only just an art, but it's very important. It's a science. I'm a mother of two. A daughter and a son. Yeah, one's primary 5 and one is primary 2 this year. So besides running a business, I have like 2 kids as well.
Wow,
yeah.
I see. So why food business? Are you a foodie yourself, or you just love cooking?
I was born into a family that I'm originally from Brunei. So yeah, my grandfather used to run like a restaurant. I'm Hainanese, So the Hainanese are famous for like chicken rice, kaya toast, coffee shops. Yeah. So that's what, like my grandfather used to do for a living, So I think that part, it's very alive, So when I was young, we would always be, learn how to cook at home and chicken rice, Before I started the soup business, actually, I was contemplating of going to Australia to start a chicken rice business. Because I figured out, wow, chicken rice, Singapore only sell $2 one plate. Australia can sell $10 one plate. Wow. And you only have to work like such short hours in Australia. So that was something that really wanted to do, because I really make a very mean chicken rice and chili. Yeah, so but I didn't do that. I was very inspired when I watched an episode of Seinfeld. Soup Nazi. Yeah. No soup for you. So I was like, wow, I want to be the soup Nazi. No, but honestly speaking, it was because I felt that there was something that was lacking in Singapore, because actually a lot of people are very well traveled. A lot of people have been studying overseas, and a lot of people say, we can't really find a good bowl of soup, because if you think about it, where do you find soups? Okay, when we're young, your mom or my mom, what do we do when you want to eat Western food, right? You open a can of Campbell soup at home, the condensed soup. No one really knows how to make fresh Western-based soup. So we thought that we figured out there is an opportunity. If you want something good, what do? You go to a restaurant. You can't exactly have a bowl of soup as a main. It's usually an appetizer, and you can't go to a restaurant and order just a bowl of soup and say, okay, that's all I'm having, So we felt that there is an opportunity to use soup as a vehicle for people to eat well, to eat healthy, with no preservatives, no MSG, as well as every soup, you think about it, every culture has got a soup
Yes.
that, that they will say Nona makes the best, or grandma makes the best, or mom makes the best, whether you are Chinese, whether you are Malay, whether you are Indians, the Indians eat a lot of dal. So you actually think about it, every culture has got a soup that is special to their heart. It's comfort food, So what more if you could actually play on the element of comfort, and then something that is healthy as well, because if your grandmother makes it for you, it must be good for you, right? No one would make something that's bad for you. Yeah, so I think when we started, there were a lot of naysayers. People would say, "Xiao wei, soup in Singapore, so hot, the
so hot,
weather,
right?
sure fail."
Sure fail.
I had a lot of people who tell that to my face. It was, I think if I took those comments and I just like...
wouldn't have started in the first place.
Yeah, but I thought it was very motivating, because the more that people tell me you're gonna fail, right, the more I want to make sure I prove Type A personality.
Type A personality.
So I think generally that is like, my stand. I mean, like, you think about it today, all of us wearing, long sleeve, men wearing ties. Where do we go and eat? We go eat hawker center. What do we eat? Fishball noodle. What do we eat? Mee siam, mee rebus. Do we complain?
Right?
Very hot, we still eat. Take the tissue paper, take the tissue paper and that. But wow, we still eat. So actually, you think about it, as a whole in Asia, we are being taught by our grandparents, never eat anything that's cold, because hot foods, not good for you. Hot foods are good for you. So generally, I think that motivated us to continue on with our journey, to persevere, to really think big. And start small. My aspiration, I always tell people, is to be the Starbucks of soup. Okay lah, tell people, paiseh, wow, Starbucks global brand. But I mean, there's nothing wrong to aspire to be something, so that you can move your dreams forward. How would you do it? At the end of the day, it's about, I always tell people, Starbucks did it one cup at a time. One cup at a time. I do mine one bowl at a time lah. It's okay. Yeah, but the thing as we progressed, I truly understood what the dream truly meant. How Starbucks was being a global benchmark, how it changed the world, how when people used to drink freeze-dried coffee, and that today people are willing to pay $5-6 for a cup of coffee, a good cup of coffee in a space that they could sit down and comfortably. So they were a game changer. They innovated on something that was tradition, that people were just drinking coffee at home, or kind of thing. That also can change, because if you think about it, we mentioned soup being a very cultural thing. Soup the restaurant is actually started from the word restore, which means actually the first restaurant in the world was actually selling soup, because people go for restoration, in a soup place. So, and then how we have evolved to have canned soups at home. And then, so why can't we evolve, from the canned soups to having something fresh, something chilled with no preservatives, no MSG, that can be enjoyed in a space that is an extension of your living room, like in a space that is comfortable. So it's, at the end of the day, building the brand, it's important, because it's about the product. It's about a wholesome, good product. It's about the communication. It's about what we believe the brand can be, and it's about the people that we have, because it's important, because you don't need only just good brand, ambassadors. Your people are your best ambassadors, your own staff, because they have to communicate what the brand essence are. When we did our branding, it's about from the world to our kitchen to you, because it speaks about the innovation that we put, taking world-inspired soups, back into our kitchen, adding on a little bit of that Singapore flavor, Singapore touch that we have, and then presenting it to you as our customers. Yeah, so that's what we believe in. Yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm a fan of Soup Spoon as well. I see so many flavors of Soup Spoon. Really love it, right?
Thank you.
Now the thing is, you kept on innovating in terms of flavors, types of the spoon. Now I see your packets in NTUC as well.
Yes.
Besides innovating in terms of flavor, recipe, what else do you have to innovate, in order to be competitive in this market?
I think it's truly, at the end of the day, business, when you transit from being an entrepreneur to being a business person. I think that is something that most entrepreneurs have the most difficulty in, to let go. All of us, to a certain extent, are probably control freaks. To a certain extent, we want to hold everything together. But as you grow your business, you will realize that, you have to kind of let go. You have to trust people. You have to put systems in place, because you can't do everything. You can't be there 24/7. You have to entrust a team and that is very important. Putting a systems in place, we have transited from just only retail stores. We also have our own manufacturing. We have a factory now as well, production plant that does all the soups to supply to all our retail stores as well as into the supermarkets. And what we want to be is really from the world flavors coming into Singapore, and then now we want to go back into the world. We want to export our flavors into the world to let people know, what the soup spoon stands for. And that is something that you have to really have the people in place. You have to have the systems in place. So that are some of the challenges, as an entrepreneur we have, because we are not the expert in everything. The skill sets to start a business, you are a go-getter, you are an activator, but when you move on, to grow the business, you kind of, when you scale the business, you need a different skill set. And as entrepreneurs, we have to realize that we may not have all the skill sets, and therefore we need to have a team. And we learn along the way with the team that we have put in place. I think that is very important.
I see. You have 26 outlets now.
Yes.
Wow, fantastic. So what were some of the challenges when you were scaling the business? And now you have plans to go offshore as well, outside of Singapore. Share with us,
I think when you started the business, I think it's about, like we said, it's about consistency of the product, which we've mentioned. I always tell my staff, I said, there's no superstar in the kitchen. If we have put together, this is the recipe that we have said that we want to follow this, therefore we need to stick by this. If anybody wants to change or innovate on it, let's discuss and then we change it together, because we cannot have the customer come in the next day and then it tastes different. I think quality and consistency is very important for us. The fact that the soups have to be wholesome, no preservatives added. Henceforth, there was a very short shelf life in the products that we have. Yeah, so when we started, we said, 2 weeks only your soups expire when you buy it off the shelf. I said, yes, because there's no preservatives added. It's freshly made. So there's always a challenge, with wastages. When you go into that part of the business, and I think it's also about when you scale the business, it's about the staff, in Singapore, challenge is always about finding staff. I always tell people, it's when you have a good product, you have to have good staff, because it takes 2 hands to clap. Because if you have a great product and you don't have the staff, you're never ever going to, you're not going to make any noise, right? So even if you have great staff, but you have a lousy product and a product that you're not passionate about, then you're not going to make any noise and not going to make any sound. So I think it's important to put both in place. Yeah, so that's when the embryologist in me, the science in me, we need SOPs, we need SOPs in whatever we do. But I think it's about, even when it doesn't go right, I think it's about just taking a back seat and just saying that, okay, let's try again, let's do better. Because not everything that we want to set out to do works, I mean, I made a soup, I tried to innovate on the rawon, because I really love to eat rawon. Okay, it's Indonesian using bokolak, right? And many years ago, I did a vegetarian version. I thought, wow, okay lah, I think no beef, right? And the customer told me, no, it's the first time, I don't know what I'm eating. I was like, fail, right? Fail on innovation. But you said that was important, because that was like immediately I said, after the customer told me that, we pulled the plug, we stopped production of that. We stopped that.
Feedback, and then
yes, that's why I said, if you're going to run a business, you have to be hands-on, you have to be there. It's gruesome, but you have to be there. I slept at the shop when I started the business. I always tell people this story about how I was in my Kia van that I do delivery, and was driving. Went to IKEA, so I stopped at the Alexandra traffic light, and then I fell asleep. at the traffic light.
Oh my.
And then I was driving, fell asleep. And then the next thing I knew, right, there was all this, when I woke up, right, I had this people shaking me. And then when I woke up, I was like, there was all this bunch of people staring at me at the windscreen because they thought that I died in the car, yeah. Because they horn, didn't wake up, right? The traffic light has changed many times, but I was like so totally like zombified, right? That I didn't even know that. Yeah, I was so asleep. Yeah, and then the person was like shaking me. Miss, are you okay? It was kind of very embarrassing, but yeah, you see, these are the things that as an entrepreneur, everyone think that, oh wow, it's going to be rosy and things like that. But actually, yeah, it was pretty tough when we started the business. It was a lot of sweat. It was a lot of it was a lot of heart that we put into running the business.
And you mentioned that there were a lot of naysayers. Boo boo, you should not do it right at the beginning. So what motivated you, and who were your
when I joined this spring business competition, because we were on TV as well, and I had to go and peddle my soups, in Orchard Road, okay? They made me go and peddle my soup in Orchard Road. And I was like, I think it was just for entertainment. I mean, it was for TV, so they had to have some like exaggeration of the whole thing, right? So it was like, I think people tried it. Everyone was like, would you try my soup, please? Like everyone was like, no, don't try, like in Orchard Road, asking people to giving people free things, no one even wants to take it, right? But we got into like the top 5, but we got eliminated when we were in after the 5th one. And then the judges actually said that, what's the problem with you guys? Your business is not scalable. Being a type A personality, you know what that's your personality.
I'm going to prove you wrong. That's your personality.
Yeah. That time it was like in what, that was probably about 12, 13 years ago. I mean, like when we did that show, like probably 13 or 14 years ago. Yeah, so kind of it kind of always had that thing in us that, how can we be something more than just what we were then, how can we be a scalable business, what can we do to move our business? I mean, obviously it was not easy when we started, because when we started into the 2nd year, it was SARS. Yeah, so if the audience is old enough to remember, SARS was it was a pretty scary situation. Correct. And it kind of like made us realize that although the retail part of the business wasn't doing so great, but because we had the soup packs, we actually had a lot of people who buy the soup packs and bringing them home, because I think people wanted to take care of themselves. People were conscious about making sure that they were healthy. So we actually saw an uplift in that part of the business. And because there was nobody visiting the malls, obviously, right? So we felt encouraged, and that was important. I mean, being too bullish about your business at the start, it's also a bad thing, right? I mean, like we had great success when we opened the first shop at Raffles City. That was like when the media came and everything. I had soups that were sold out at 5 p.m. when it was out in Sunday Times. And then we thought, wow, okay, great, man. Everybody wants soup. All the children in the world want soup. So we went on to open a shop in United Square. So United Square, we thought, okay, parents, children. And then SARS, Tan Tock Seng Hospital was very near United Square, so that didn't fare very well. But really, the fact that why we failed was because we didn't do our homework for that store. Because we think that children were our target market.
I see.
Yes, and we really banked on it. So and then because you have 2 stores, you can say, oh, I'm going to open a central kitchen to support it. And that really nailed the coffin. If I had like kind of a didn't persevere, we would probably have folded by then. Yeah. Wow. So we lost quite a lot of money in that store. And then but we had like a lot of friends that came and helped us in the business, and we kind of told everybody. It was very supportive. We had like people who funded us, friends. So we just kind of told everybody, looks like, we need to really scale down our business. So it's just going to be me running the business. Everybody has to go back to their day job. It's kind of need to go back to your day job. Yeah. So then I did catering. We did catering to to supplement the business, you know,
Right.
but a lot of people are very supportive. I think we've been very blessed, like, you know, because I was always at the store and there was a lot of people who come by, you know, and then they were very supportive. And we were doing like $15 for 15 packs. That was like our kind of like a thing, you know. So a lot of people did for home parties and everything. So it was very supportive. But there was one day, you know, because like we were overbooked Hari Raya. And then
so popular.
And then that was like nailed me to the coffin as well, because the lady was so upset because there was an accident and we were so late when we reached her place.
Oh no.
And then that made us refocus and rethink, you know, what do we really want to do, you know? Catering is just to survive, you know.
Yes.
But what's our ultimate goal, you know? If we want to be the Starbucks of soup, we're not going to get it done by just being a caterer, being the best caterer in the world. It's never going to ever happen. So that's when we thought that let's refocus back into growing the retail part of the business, trying to make headways in this area. So that's when we decided, okay, let's stop the catering and focus back onto the retail part of the business and to grow the business, you know, one store at a time, one customer at a time.
Wow.
So that's kind of like where we are today. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what would be your advice to budding entrepreneurs who wants to venture into the F&B industry, which is so competitive, right?
I think it's really think big, start small. I think that's to have the passion for your business and do not think that if you're going to hire somebody and you're going to not quit your day job, it's not going to happen. It's like you have to be there to really understand what your consumers and what your customers really want, because we can be delusional. We can think that this is what our customers want, but actually it may not be really what the market needs. And I think that's important, like to really know who our target audience is, to be motivated and to really believe in your own, you know, aspirations of what you set out to do. I mean, obviously, if it doesn't happen, then we have to reflect back and see what can we do better, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. You are a mother of 2 children as well. You have to juggle between work and then also
Yes.
the school,
Yeah.
the children, and whatever activities that they have. What would be, you know, something that you think is very crucial as a support system for women who wants to venture into business? Because many will probably be in the same shoes as well.
Well, I think I was probably a little bit more lucky in that sense, is because when I started the business, you know, I didn't have the children. You know, I was married, but I didn't have children.
Okay.
You know, I had children really like 7 years into, you know, when the business was a little bit more stabilized, because it was really 24/7 when I started the business. For 7 years, I worked every day.
Wow.
Yeah, until I had my first child, and yeah, I had to go and give birth. So that was like
That's the only time you had a break.
yeah. So I think it's having a good family support system is very important. So it's either you have like your parents or your parents-in-law, or a very supportive husband. I think that's important as well. You know, to really do this together. Yeah, or I mean, in my case, you know, my parents are not here. You know, parents are in Brunei still. So I have a really good helper. You know, that has been with us for a long time. So she takes care of like basically like a housekeeper. We trust her, you know, to do, you know, most of the things in the house. But I think women are generally very good at compartmentalizing their lives, like multitasking. You know, they know exactly, okay, you know, although they be at work, they will know, okay, exactly these are the schedules to make sure that the children are taken care of and everything. So I think generally women are much better at that. I mean, whether is it an entrepreneur or women in leadership, I generally feel that the challenges are the same. Yeah, as long as you're a woman, because we have that much more like a motherly instincts coming in through. So you generally, the element of guilt is always there as a mother, because you're feeling that you're not spending enough time with your children. What more could you do, you know, for your children? You know, for me, I believe in all-rounded children. You know, don't need to be academic. So for me, it's like really about other things that they can do, you know,
Yes,
in the
nurture them
arts,
naturally.
yeah, ballet, or if they are more interested in this area, then let's just nurture them in this area, and sports, you know, or other things, you know, not necessarily academic. The school system will take care of that. I think that's important, is to groom them to be more independent, you know, to teach them all these values when they're young, that can follow them through in life, you know, not just being academic and book smart kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you so much, Anna, for sharing insights and your experience with us. We greatly appreciate it. Now, do catch Anna Lim live on 26 September at HER Asia Summit. I'll see you there.